Okay, so here we are taking a look at the Burton Genesis X. They were so intriguing that I had to buy them and ride them, and I think I want to keep them. However, you know, they kind of sit in this in-between range. As you can see, I have two other bindings here to compare these two to kind of give you an idea of where they sit in the Burton realm of bindings. Here's the regular Genesis, here is the Genesis X, and here is the Diode. And you know, they all feel you know, about the same in weight. You know, this one feels lighter because I think somehow the disc popped out on that. Hopefully it's in my bag. But you know, they have the same setup, same ankle straps, just, you know, these ankle straps have a splash of color, and same great new toe straps, you know, the kind of get a grip style toe strap. However, there's one thing I don't like about the new toe strap, and I talked about this, but they want you to cut this. So for example, if you were to you know, size it up for your boot and then cut it, and then your buddy wants to try it, they're shit out of luck unless they have the same exact footprint that you do, not even the same size. For example, let's say you go from like a Burton boot over to something like Vans or somebody like that who has a pretty large footprint, then suddenly these won't fit you. So my suggestion is, instead of putting this on the inside, just let it stick out awkwardly over this rubber, so you can actually get this whole thing to fit over your boot. So it's very easy to get it to go on the outside. You just, if they're new, so they don't unscrew really easy, but just put it in like this and let it come out on the other side here. And that's what I would suggest doing, so that way you can keep this strap on the outside and be able to adjust to you know, your boot, maybe the boot you're going to buy in the future, or you know, let your buddy ride it, because it's fun to share your gear. Now you have it fitting properly over the toe, and I just love this new soft rubbery toe strap that kind of sucked at the demos. So if you read reviews that complain about it not fitting correctly, those were most likely reviews from the demos. The production model is much softer and has a much better fit over the toe, and I think it's one of Burton's best toe straps in a long time. You know, you've got these easy ratchets, all that kind of stuff. You've got the same auto cant that you have with the Genesis. Now here's kind of the main difference. It's just a stiffer version of the Genesis that's kind of more in line with the Diode. So like you can see here, like I can kind of twist this a little bit and get just the tiniest bit of give here. Now with this one, I can't twist it. It's barely twistable. There's no give. It's definitely just this portion back here, not this little hammock strap, but this portion back here just doesn't really want to twist like the Genesis does. See how I can just almost, like, it's got a lot more twist to it and a little bit of give, or when you go with this, there's almost no twist and very little give. So you're definitely getting a stiffer high back. You're getting a stiffer overall binding. Now you look at this flex, I mean, this to me feels just a little bit like stiffer and more, a little more responsive. However, on the hill, I found that they were pretty close. I do like this hammock strap, and I think it's fun. All three bindings have that same fun flex underfoot. The reflex disc bends here, so it flexes with the board. And then there's very minimal contact, you know, from the back here all the way to the front here. So the board flexes underfoot really well for butters and presses. So even though it's just like this and the diode are really responsive edge to edge, it's still fun to butter with. So, you know, all in all, there's not really that much to talk about. It's just a slightly stiffer, slightly more responsive version of the Genesis, and yeah, I like it. I think it's just kind of like, I would still call this like, you know, kind of like, give it like 4 out of 5 for response, just like I would the Diode, but I'd say the Diode's just a shade better, but not by too much. And then, you know, this is kind of more of like mid-level response, but more response than you would think for the regular Genesis. So the Genesis X, you know, I don't know if it's something that's that special. It's just kind of like they tweaked an existing great binding. So I wouldn't suggest this over the Genesis unless you really like the auto cant feature of the Genesis, because you don't get that with the Diode. So it's kind of like, you know, like a better fitting, you know, with this hammock strap, it kind of has just a slightly different feel to it. So you can pair this with a more responsive board than you would with the Genesis, but you know, and get the auto cant that you don't have with the Diode. So, but I was kind of expecting to see something a little more than just a stiffer flexing Genesis, because almost everything else about the binding is the same. And I would have liked to have seen some other tweaks to really make it something unique, maybe a different ankle strap, you know, maybe some other unique feature that would give you a different take on the binding. But still, it's a great binding, and I know it'll appeal to a lot of riders who, you know, like want something almost as responsive as the Diodes, but with an auto cant.